crying emojis in the chats. Oh my lord, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy Doody back again with another video, and whew, it's been a whirlwind of a couple days with everything going on with our boy Phil. And today, we got some more breaking news or more fallout from the interview with Truth Seekers. That's right. If you weren't on stream or you didn't watch any content or been on Twitter, you wouldn't have heard that our boy Broside Phil apparently had a conversation with Officer Whitney. Now, if you don't know who Officer Whitney is, she is the officer who Phil spoke to years ago about his identity theft. And she was the one that essentially told him that Renton police don't handle identity theft or any of those type of online crimes. The only thing they deal with is, sex trafficking, which is nonsense. Everybody never believed that, and so on. So Broside Phil went on to the Truth Seekers interview with Phil and pretty much debunked Phil and told him that he put a call out, was going to speak with this officer, which he did. And today on his stream, he actually played the interview with Officer Whitney, and it was great. It was pretty fire. Essentially, the officer said that kind of Phil's full of crap, and that she does remember the conversation. She swore she did not tell him that Renton police don't handle identity theft, and it was a really good conversation piece that Broside had. If you want to check it out, I'll link the video in the description. I'm going to talk about it more tomorrow on my podcast. That's going to be the focus. But the main piece of this video here is, of course, the new lore. That's right. Apparently, Phil is Cyrax. That's right. If you don't know any of this Cyrax lore, Anchor police are so sick and tired of Cyrax that they label him a 43, which is essentially a mentally disturbed person. And most police districts have a code for those type of things. You've ever heard of a 187, whatever, right? So apparently in Renton, for a mentally disturbed person, they used the code 220. And Officer Whitney actually released some new lore. Now I want to play this quick little clip here from Phil during the interview where he talked about how the officer told Phil that if he wanted to file a complaint or report about identity theft, that he can contact the FBI. Now the FBI here is key. So let's play this short that Doody created, and then we'll play the full clip from Broside Phil's video.
All kinds of fraudulent chargebacks against my PayPal account all the time. And I've got these people's email addresses. PayPal could probably get all this information about who they are or whatever.
For sure.
Would the police investigate anything like that whatsoever? And her response to me, I'm paraphrasing because obviously I didn't record the conversation, was,
I understand.
No, we would not look into anything like that whatsoever. We don't have the capacity. Basically, anything that we have to do with kind of online stuff is essentially child and human trafficking because that's all we can really handle. However, if you want, you can contact the FBI in Seattle.
Okay, so that's the key phrase here. You can contact the FBI in Seattle, right? So, on Broside Phil's video, here's the audio portion. She had a lot to say about the FBI. It's so great. Let's listen to this.
I mean, I can't see any repercussions for me either way. If he's like, oh, I recorded it, and she said this, and I'm like, that's kind of an outlandish thing for me. Of course he didn't. But I'm like, I was very cautious when I would talk to people to not give onlys or we don't do that, and there were times and calls I referred people to the FBI, but that was if I was tired of talking to them and they were what we call a 220, kind of mental, and that was just for fun.
You have no idea how much that like you just gave me icing on top of icing on top of icing on top of a cherry on the cake. My God, you were a sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't want to take any more of your Sunday. You gave me 23 minutes of your time.
All right, so Officer Whitney here. Whitney, she was the person that talked to Phil. Confirmed that no, Phil's not telling the truth. They would never tell a person that they don't do crimes like identity theft or whatever. That's bullshit. Now, the interesting part here is that she quipped and she mentioned that the only time she would essentially tell someone to go talk to the FBI was if she got tired of them because they were a 220 mentally unstable person. So again, if you don't know the Cyrax lore, a 43 is what they call mentally crazy people in Akron, and apparently in Renton, Washington, they label these people 220. Oh my lord. Let's play that clip one more time of Phil talking about what this officer told him.
All kinds of fraudulent chargebacks against my PayPal account all the time. And I've got these people's email addresses. PayPal could probably get all this information about who they are or whatever.
For sure.
Would the police investigate anything like that whatsoever? And her response to me, I'm paraphrasing because obviously I didn't record the conversation, was,
I understand.
No, we would not look into anything like that whatsoever. We don't have the capacity. Basically, anything that we have to do with kind of online stuff is essentially child and human trafficking because that's all we can really handle. However, if you want, you can contact the FBI in Seattle.
I referred people to the FBI, but that was if I was tired of talking to them and they were what we call a 220, kind of mental.
That's right, folks. You heard it right there. The only time she would tell someone that to go see the FBI would be if she got tired of them because they're mentally unstable. That's right. So right here, she confirmed that her or the police in Renton, one or both, believe that Phil is mentally disturbed individual. And the interesting part is that call is about 20 something minutes long. There are some other stuff that we're going to go through tomorrow on my podcast where, man, they do not like Phil whatsoever. Apparently Phil was bragging that he was a gamer for some reason, bragging about all the money he makes, had cameras all over the house, apparently didn't want any police to go to his house for some strange reason. It was very odd. So I think they may have that 220 indicator marked on Phil's file in the police district. So when he calls, it pops up and it shows, be careful, this guy is mentally unstable. Man, so that's some new lore, folks. So if you didn't know what the whole 220 meme was, that's what it is, folks. 220 is the police code for mentally unstable person in Renton, Washington. And apparently Phil was labeled that. Anyway, hope to see you guys on my podcast. It should be great. We're going to go over the 30-minute conversation, and Doody has a lot to say. Peace out.